Welcome to another Universal Studios construction update. I was so fortunate to go to the studios while it was raining, which made the park pretty empty, but it looked absolutely fantastic. Starting from the parking structure, we can see that the exterior of the Secret Life of Pets Off-the-Leash Dark Ride now has exterior lighting spanning the entire width of the attraction. It looks pretty nice. Not that there's ever going to be people going back there other than team members, but it does give a little bit of added detail to the building. You can see some of the Waterworld smoke going off right behind the Universal Studios Hollywood Peristyle. And as we get closer to the globe, you can see it was a pretty windy day. This carries over once I've gotten through security now. And you can see not many people are trying to enter the park in the rain. It was definitely a stupid thing to do. But that did turn people away from the entrance, where there is a lot more holiday decor from last time we were here, including the Grinchmas logo on the front of the peristyle. Once into the park, you can see that there's a little bit more holiday decor inside the entrance plaza, including this green circle around the fountain. And of course, there's a Cats poster. Again, I will rephrase. Every single person who sees this poster, nobody's going to see it. Nobody wants to see this movie. Never mind. Anyway, on the back of the peristyle, you can see the Grinchmas logo as well, and some more decor all around the plaza. So heading into the studio store, I wanted to see if there was going to be any more holiday merchandise than last time, but it didn't seem like there was. It seemed like it was the same as last time, where they just put up Christmas trees and other decorations around existing merchandise, which is fine. I think that's great, and I definitely love that they're being more festive. One thing I didn't notice last time was the Grinchmas merchandise, and this little baby Grinch that kind of looks a little bit like Baby Yoda from The Mandalorian. Maybe it's because we haven't gotten a Baby Yoda doll yet, but I was kind of excited to see that. Heading over to the wait times, it looks like every single attraction was closed or non-operational. It turns out that the wait time board was actually broken. They had a guy outside spieling that it's broken, don't worry. I did find that kind of funny. There was more holiday decor as we went down towards the plaza, where I wanted to go check out Grinchmas.
Happy holidays!
Last time I was here, I didn't get a fully experienced Grinchmas because it was closed off, so this was actually, I think, my first time ever experiencing Grinchmas, which is pretty exciting.
Happy holidays!
Welcome, happy holidays!
Hello.
Hello! We got so much
Now,
mail
this
that
was
just
kind
came
of just a
through.
brief overview of Hula Days. I wanted to sneak in, get a peek, but I didn't want to stay in one place too long because it was pouring out, and if I were to do that, I would have rather been indoors. One thing I did want to check out, and I apologize for my umbrella getting in the shot, was the snacks location and the merch location as part of the plaza, and they had a lot of cool Grinch-themed snacks here, including a Grinch donut, a pinwheel cookie, some specialty beverages that you can't get anywhere else in the park. And then right next to it, they did have a merchandise cart that had all the Grinch merchandise we saw in the store, including the little baby Yodas that I'm going to keep calling, which are up there in the top left, and Grinch gloves, which I thought was pretty cool, and the pajamas. I also loved that the trash cans were themed. There was also a Grinch-themed snowman, which looked really cool. Nice photo op, and it was right next to the massive Grinchmas Christmas tree. I believe this premiered last year for the first time, and so this would be only the second year of this tree. Unfortunately, I didn't get to stay and see the lighting ceremony that happens on the stage, because it didn't happen until very late at night, and I had to get to dinner, but this area really comes to life at night. I did get a peek in later at night, and we'll check at that, though. There was a production car. There was actually a couple production cars from the movie, which is pretty neat. So outside of the Grinchmas location, you can see the crowds are starting to thin out a lot. Some wait times. The longest wait in the park was the Simpsons ride at 45 minutes. Again, it's always the longest for some weird reason. And then the studio tour was the second longest. And then Ollivanders, for some reason, was longer than both Flight of the Hippogriff and Forbidden Journey. At the lower lot, Jurassic World was only at 15 minutes. Again, it's raining. I don't know why it would be long. But heading into the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, this is really where holidays come to life. And last time I was here, I didn't get to see all of the decorations and hear the holiday music and hear the cast members talking about holidays, or team members, I apologize. So it was really cool getting to return and getting to see all of the holiday decorations. This was a cool spell effect that somebody triggered outside the door that would lead to Hagrid's motorbike adventure if we were in Florida, but maybe not. Here's a look. I was right outside of Honeydukes, across the way by where the train is. And there wasn't much of a line for frozen butterbeer outside. There is hot butterbeer, though, and I spoke about this in the last construction update. It is so delicious. It is definitely very sweet to have just on your own, so it might be nice to share it. But you can pick it up at the Three Broomsticks. So heading further along the street, you can see a lot more holiday decorations up on the sides. Of course, there are no holiday decorations on the castle because they actually do a Christmas-themed nighttime spectacular. And we'll look at, there's a problem with the projectors, I think, as we got towards nighttime, and we'll look at that a little bit later. Here's the stage. Obviously, they can't do many shows when it is raining, but they can run Flight of the Hippogriff, which makes no sense to me. I don't know how outdoor coasters can run in the rain, but I guess they can, which is kind of neat. I decided to head towards The Simpsons to see if we could see any holiday anything towards there. And I could buy the studio tour entrance. There was some nice baubles and garland on the studio tour entrance, but Krusty Land itself seemed to have little to nothing, same as last time, of holiday merchandise and holiday decorations. I don't know whether this is a rights issue or I guess they don't celebrate in Krusty Land. This is a fun show moment that happens occasionally when the nuclear power plant starts exploding. You can see some smoke coming out from it. And if we turn the other way, you can see kind of behind Cocina Mexicana a little bit of the Secret Life of Pets dark ride peeking out over the top. We'll walk closer to it in a sec, but here's a little bit of a closer view. You can see some of the roof line peeking out just a little bit. To the side of Grinchmas, behind the Palace Cafe, is where you can start to see it just a little bit more. And here we are, back at the Secret Life of Pets Off the Leash Dark Ride for another construction update. It didn't seem like there was much going on with the facades. Those have been finished or mostly finished for a while now, but a lot of the work appears to be happening inside the windows. This is where construction workers are adding scenes to make them look inhabited. They're adding shower curtains and lamps and desks to make them look real, to make these buildings look real. Here's another look from the corner. I'm standing right outside of the Parisian Courtyard entrance, which is actually kind of interesting because the Parisian Courtyard, it was open for guests, and actually Gru from Despicable Me was doing a meet and greet there, but the entrance right across from Secret Life of Pets was closed for some reason, and there was a fence outside of it. I tried to peek over and see if there was anything going on, any construction. It didn't look like there was. It just looked like it was blocking the fence. Don't know why. I do love this corner though, right across from the Despicable Me entrance. Instead of having a bunch of flat facades, this has two buildings that really look like they're being matched together. And it looks really cool. Whoever designed this did a great job. Kudos. Now going over to the side right outside of the Minion Way. Last time we were here, the lights weren't lit up, and I like how they are color coordinated to each location, and how Gru's house is lit up yellow because of course the Minions have obviously had a hand in decorating. Looking at the facade here, there are some show scenes that appear to be plussed. So we looked at the lamp last time, but it looks like above the lamp there is a show scene over there, which is pretty cool. And the blue facade over here to the right, maybe it's just me, but it looks like there's a lot more ornamentation and detail than last time we checked, just a couple weeks ago. And I saw a line forming. I didn't know this at the time, but Gru was doing his meet and greet. I thought the sign was funny. Come on, his right side. Actually, a lot of attractions had them up. But he usually does his meet and greet outside of this White House right here, or outside of the home for the girls, but he was doing it across the way in front of the Parisian courtyard, and he actually had a minion with him, which was pretty funny. So going back to our usual upper lot view of the lower lot construction, there was a lot of smokers there, so I couldn't be there for too long. But here's a bit of a view of what you can see. We'll analyze it a bit in a little while, but you can see here some of the progress made on the left side of the land. And oh my god, there was a Cats poster. They added a freaking Cats poster to the back of the Jurassic World attraction. No one is going to see this movie. Just for some wayfinding, the smoking area is right by Super Silly Funland. For some weird reason, it's off to the right back there. And we were going all the way down the street, which had some more holiday decorations on it, to go back into Grinchmas, where we can see the mayor and the Grinch having a conversation.
That's what you're implying. Of course I'm implying. Really? I have an alibi. Where have you been? What's an alibi? See? You gotta watch out for this guy. I've been somewhere with all these witnesses, and I got photos to prove it, pal. Oh, yeah? Yeah! This smells stinky. And I don't just mean you. You see what I'm saying?
So I realized there's so many things that I got to see in the Grinchmas area, but one thing I still had not yet to do was go visit the actual Grinch. So I got in line. It said it was only a 15-minute wait. It turned out being about 25 or 30. But I finally got to meet the Grinch who stole Christmas. And what a great character he was.
Hi. Well, you're gonna cheer me up, aren't you? Yeah, you are. Oh, I knew I liked you. Come on, let's go. Happy birthday! Anything?
Hello.
Boy, let's just keep the camera on the Grinch.
Outside of Grinchmas, one thing I was so excited to see is that there was somebody taking a photo with the snowman. Now, he wasn't on the snowman, but it was cool that they were taking a photo. Another fun moment I saw was with Marilyn Monroe and Fiona, kind of playing a little bit of hide and seek with a young girl. Universal characters are just amazing. Before heading down to the lower lot, I decided to check on some wait times. Looks like the Simpsons ride went down to 25 minutes, and now the longest attraction in the park was the studio tour at 40 minutes. The rain washed out a lot of the smog in the valley, so it just looked absolutely beautiful. Now, looking closer at the lower lot, you can see that finally they removed that Halloween Horror Nights tent for Killer Clowns from Outer Space, but there was still some chain link fence by where the tent was, which are still some remnants of an event that ended over a month ago. Now, of course, I headed to the lower lot to see the construction on the rumored Super Nintendo Land, and we'll get a much closer look at this. in a little bit, but you can see a lot of the progress has happened towards the left side of the rumored land, behind the Jurassic Cafe and Studio Cafe. Headed down on the escalator, you can see that there's also a lot of progress done on the roof towards the left side. Most of the progress up till now had been on the right, towards that raised portion. And I'm not quite sure what they're doing on the left side yet. Looking down at the lower lot, and people getting drenched on Jurassic World. You can see the Christmas tree and some of the construction peeking out over the studio store. Now, the Jurassic World sign, for some reason, still was missing. And, of course, due to the weather, Blue was not interacting with guests today.
Can't swim very well, but come back at 4:30 and we'll try again. Sorry, boss. Jurassic World's right over there if you'd like to ride.
You can see some of the building peeking out over the studio store. And across from Studio Store is Revenge of the Mummy, and I realized I haven't been on this attraction for a really long time. And it did say, come in, it's dry in here, so I did. Now, one problem was the single rider line was flooded, so that was closed. I decided to use Express, which was a waste of an Express pass because it was essentially a walk-on. There was nobody in either line. It's great just getting to walk right up and get right on.
Day. Now your souls belong to me.
Revenge of the Mummy is such a great attraction, and even though it is not quite as evergreen as some of the Disney properties, it will always make for a fantastic coaster. Now, by Transformers, you can see that the three Transformers that usually meet were not meeting due to local environmental conditions. But heading towards the attraction Transformers the Ride, we go to our usual spot to view the lower lot construction. And there's a lot to analyze here, even just in the past couple weeks. One of the biggest changes is the rising up of the roof. Likely they're going to be closing in this building fairly soon, and you can see that they are raising the sides of the walls higher than that second level. Now, there are a couple reasons why they would do this, chief of which is most likely to hide that third level from the ground. You can see some progress over on the left-hand side of the rumored Mushroom Kingdom area, which has seen the most change over the past couple weeks. You know what would be so funny is if everyone keeps thinking this is going to be a Super Nintendo Land and Universal just announces, you know what, it's not. This is an expansion of Jurassic World. And that could easily be what it is. They are building a Jurassic World area in Beijing. I did decide to go on Transformers, but instead of focusing on the attraction, I decided to focus the side of the vehicle to see if I could see some behind-the-scenes secrets, like projections and some of the other vehicles in the attraction. Here you can see out the side one of the two elevators. So there are two elevators, one right there on the left and one on the right. You can see the one on the left was going up. We will be entering the one on the right. This is to get us up to the second floor. Here you can see it coming down a little bit. Once you are on the elevator, you can actually see the movement by turning around and focusing on the hallway you just came from and the hallway you are going to. If you're on the right elevator, you'll see it on the right side, and if you're on the left elevator, you'll see it on the left side, which is pretty cool. Here you can see a little bit out to the side of the vehicle. There's another ride vehicle going through the profiles. Here you can see where we just were, but we're on the other side. Here you can see again off to the right-hand side, there's Megatron stabbing the vehicle. And now here we are, Megatron stabbing our vehicle, looking right back where we were. It's really cool getting this behind-the-scenes look at the attraction, because most of the time you're just looking forward, so I highly encourage you to ride and see if you can spot these things. Now here we are again in the elevator, and there we go, dropping down to the first floor. It's really fun to watch the attraction this way.
You can ride with evac anytime.
So I've definitely mentioned this before, but I love people getting absolutely soaked on Jurassic World. And looking back at the wait times, it looks like the Simpsons ride went back up to 40 minutes, and everything else is lower than that. The Mummy is the longest wait in the lower lot, and at the upper lot, Flight of the Hippogriff is just the same amount of wait as Forbidden Journey. Now this is what we call a California stop. Kind of slows down a little bit, but keeps going. It's kind of funny. One thing that is not funny, though, is remember how I said they got rid of the posters from the movie Cats? They did this during our last construction update. Well, guess what? They are back again. And I will emphasize, nobody is going to see this movie. I mean, they might, but I won't. I think it looks stupid. Donkey looked very dapper in his reindeer ears. Of course I had to meet him. Had to say hello. So I decided to head back into the Wizarding World to go on Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. And if you saw my last construction update, you know I had some troubles going on it last time. I had to write it 4 separate times because it kept breaking down. But one thing I wanted to see was there is some holiday decorations in the queue. So if you ever want to just go through the queue and not board the attraction, you can ask the team members to just go on a castle tour, and they will allow you to do that, which is really cool. And on this ride through, I tried to focus on the right side of the vehicle, because the vehicle before and after us had nobody on it, so it wasn't going through the profile, so you can kind of see it a little bit more clearly. Heading up through the greenhouse section, you can see to the right there's some garland, and it looks very merry, very dapper. Outside you can see the projections on top of the Dreamworks Theater are turned on, again for that nighttime entertainment. Headed inside to the right hand side, there's a statue, and at the base of the statue are the 4 mascots of the 4 houses, and the statue is holding the Hogwarts castle, which is pretty cool. And at the end of the hallway is the entrance to Dumbledore's office, and it is presumed as you round the corner that you are getting closer to his office. There was some garland around the photos, which is pretty cool, and there was some wreaths next to the sorting hat. Okay, so again, I'm going to be focusing on this ride through towards the right and left-hand sides of my vehicle, not in front of me, so this is not going to be a typical ride through of the attraction.
Not this week anyway. This way. Come on.
Feel free to return to
So
Hogwarts.
exiting the attraction, I tried to find some holiday merchandise, and they did have an entire wall full of stockings and stocking hangers and baubles and a bunch of different holiday merchandise. So there is a way to get to this store if you don't ride the attraction. Yes, it is towards the attraction exit, but it is actually called Filch's Emporium, and it is at the base of the castle right next to the exit of Flight of the Hippogriff. And speaking of Flight of the Hippogriff, of course I had to ride it during the sunset. So leaving the wizarding world of Harry Potter, I noticed something on the castle, and I'll show you in a second. It started looking multicolored, and I don't know whether this was a problem with the projection or what was going on, but it didn't look normal. I also decided to go into Krustyland to get a nighttime look at the non-holiday decorations and to do something that most theme parks say not to do. I decided to press the red button. So after this, I decided to head back into Grinchmas, and I noticed something. So with Max, the dog, with the reindeer ears, and the line leading up to him, and all the merchandise and the decor, it reminded me so much of Santa Claus 3, when Jack Frost commercializes the North Pole. And again, I understand this is a theme park, this is part of it, but it just seemed eerily familiar, especially with the song playing when it said Jack Frost nipping at your nose. This line of people just waiting to meet this dog, which to me didn't look happy. I'm sure it was. It just seemed really creepy. Right across was the Dreamworks Theater, and I realized I haven't been on the Dreamworks Theater or on the Kung Fu Panda adventure in a while, so I decided to go on. It wasn't much of a wait. Typically for this, you just need to wait until the next show. But from the entrance of the Dreamworks Theater, you could see the projection was really coming to life, and it looked super bizarre. Again, might be part of the nighttime entertainment. It might have turned on too early. I don't know what it was, but it didn't look normal. So the entrance of the theater and the pre-show area space is still the same as the Shrek Theater, but it is plussed up. I love the Megamind poster to the left. I think that's the best DreamWorks movie. Hidden gem there with Tina Fey in it. Heading into the theater, I decided to watch the pre-show. So here's the pre-show of the Kung Fu Panda adventure.
Welcome to the Dreamworks Theater. It's showtime.
Rico, lights! That could have gone better. All right, boys, places. Let's put on a show. Hey, where's my macchiato?
Get ready for the donkey and
Oh, come on. I know you all are here to see me, right?
If you folks came to see anybody, you came to see me.
But I'm the cutest.
And I'm the sweetest.
I hate to break it to you, but we're doing a Kung Fu Panda show.
See what?
Says everybody here, right? Especially these guys in front and maybe that family over there. They're obviously Kung Fu fans. Look! The helmet of Master Thundering Rhino.
I see your thundering rhino and raise you one talking donkey.
Wait, look at this. The Sword of Heroes.
Oh, aren't we hoity-toity fancy?
And the coolest thing of all, the Ming Hammer. A relic so powerful, it can knock you into the spirit realm.
Check, please. I can't compete with that.
Hold it! Hold it! Oh, you just received a message from
The Emperor! Ooh. My clever son has been asked to make a special delivery for the Emperor!
How do you know that?
Simple. I read his mail.
Is that a delivery? Oh, that looks important.
It's more than important. This is the liquid of ultimate power.
Well, if the Emperor needs that delivery, then we'll make sure he gets it. Right, guys?
But we may not all survive.
Okay, good luck with that.
Puppy reporting for duty.
She said duty! Sorry, guys. I think we may need some warriors that are a little, bigger.
Aww. Wait, I know something fun. Let's have a tea party.
That's the boat.
Ooh, how about if you guys come as backup?
You're serious?
This is gonna be great! Meet you inside.
I must have that liquid. Oh, with the Ming Hammer, the liquid of ultimate power will be mine.
So we're just gonna wait right here for one moment. When the doors open, you're gonna have to wait.
Come on! Before Shifu changes his mind.
I heard that.
Just kidding! Hey, buddy.
One thing I will note that as beautiful as this new theater is with all of its cool projections and TV screens, one thing they somehow made worse is if you look up at any point in the theater, you can actually see the roof of the building. Now this isn't the roof that they wanted you to see, this is the roof of the actual show building. Here's what it looks like, and I didn't make it brighter or anything, that's what you can actually see. It's kind of crazy. Well, anyway, we did a lot today. We looked at the upper and lower lot construction, experienced Grinchmas, met the Grinch, went on a couple of attractions, which made me pretty happy. And it was raining, so we got to see a lot of rain in the park and got to experience it with less crowds, which is pretty nice. I loved getting to go on attractions and looking out the side of the vehicle to see what they don't intend for you to see, which is kind of cool in a way. Definitely encourage people to try that. And of course the holiday decorations. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.